think we only have 2 more weeks. We're getting there. Hey, this is Carrie with Canary Quilts, and we are working on the Tula Pink Butterfly Quilt. And this is what it's going to look like if you're unfamiliar. And we've already got our blocks done. We're putting these sections together. So we're doing this middle section right here. And it's getting big enough that this is the 5 section, this is the 6 section, but it's only half of it. There is a mirror image of these two also. I'm going to throw a picture of all my sections just kind of laid out. It's not exactly how it's going to go together because there's a body in the middle, as you can see here, but that's where we're at. It's getting close. But today I am going to walk you through how I iron my seams, because not every seam is shown how to iron them. So I'm showing you how I iron my seams. And I show you my half square triangles. There's a lot in this one. And if you want to know how I did it, I'll link a video up above of the numbering system I used. And it's worked out great. I could number my pattern on the inside, and then all I had to do is pull numbers for these. So I'm really glad I did it that way. And if you want to see it, check the link up above. But that's what we're doing today. We're putting these together. And we are getting close. So if you want to see this quilt go together, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you want to put this together, I do have links down below for the pattern and the fabric kit. So you can get started any day. My tutorials are staying up forever. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be beautiful. And my mom is doing this, and she's almost there too. She started a month behind me, so she's been sewing her little fingers off. But anyway, let's get started. All right, we are working on sections 5 and 6 this week on our butterfly quilt, which means we're on the back half of all these sections. So we are getting close to getting this done. It's so exciting. Anyway, 5 and 6 sections are right in here. This yellow-orange section and this yellow-green section is what we're going to be working on. So I'm going to start with number 5 section. I've got my pieces pulled out and I've got my backgrounds cut, so I'm going to go through those real quick. It's a pretty big section, so I'll see how well I can lay it out for you, but we'll get it done. We can do it. I'm here with my section 5 pieces. These are my background pieces, and there's not much background. 2 squares, 2 small rectangles, 2 large squares, and 2 large rectangles. That's all there is to our background. For our half square triangles, we will need number 10, number 9, and 8. So 8, 9, and 10 is what we're going to need for our half square triangles. We are going to have to pull this large strip out that we made. Stripes, whatever you want to call it, the floating cross, that's the light orange, our yellow flying geese, and 2 intersection blocks, the yellow one with the gray middle and the orangey one with the orange floral middle here. So those are the pieces we're going to need. I am going to get them laid out the best I can to show you how this goes together. So give me a minute here. Okay, I've got these 2 pieces done. I ironed towards the chunky cross. Now we want to put our flying geese onto here, and we're going to match these 3 seams right here. So I made it so these 2 seams would nest. Aren't I smart? I am just so smart. Whatever. Whatever. And then when we get done with this, we're going to iron towards the flying geese. Now that we have this center section done, we can start putting these together, and we need to line up these seams, this seam, and this seam. So let's start there. Now we need to line up this seam, these two seams, and then match this point with this seam. So a lot more to line up over here. I'm going to start on this end. I'm going to put the center of my seam with that point right there. And again, we're going to iron away from the intersection block. All right, so I finished this section, this part of section 5 right here. So now we're going to move on to half square triangles and background, and we'll get those together, and then we'll come back and we'll put the two pieces together. Okay, we're going to now build this other half of section 5. It's the half square triangles in the background. So I'm going to get that laid out, and we can get it sewn together. Work with the half square triangles in the background, and this is how you lay it out. So you're going to need your 8 half square triangles up here at the top, number 8, with the solid here in the right hand corner, and then the 2 florals. Then you'll need one of your number 9s, and then the last number 8 that you have that's a solid. And then down here we've got number 10 and a square background, and then this section gets finished off with this rectangular background. And then down here we've got 2 of our 10 half square triangles with the larger square, and then our large rectangular background. So that's what that is going to look like. So let's get started. So it's broken down into basically 3 sections here. This section here, this section here, this section. So we're going to be sewing these 3 together. We're going to sew these 2 together, then these 2, and then we're going to sew it all. And then these 2 together gets added here. I'm going to start with all my half square triangles. So I'm going to pick these up at the top, put them together, and then I'm going to sew these. I'm going to sew these, and I'm going to sew these, and then we'll come back, and these, and we're going to come back and iron them. Sew it like this when you put these 2 together. So let's iron this towards the solid, and we'll iron towards the 2 dark orange solids. Sounds good. And then here we want to iron towards this patch and towards this polka dot. And then this one I think I'll iron open. Now we need to add this one here. We need to put these two together. And the way we iron them, they will nest. So nest those center seams. And then we're going to add these two pieces together. And I'm going to iron towards the patch on this one. And then we determined on this one we're ironing towards the dark orange. And then I'm going to keep these going in the same direction. Okay, this section is done, and we need to finish this section. Hi, babe. So I'm going to add this. This seam is going this way, so this one I'm going to sew on, and then I'm going to iron towards the solid background patch. Hi, sweetie. Okay, so I'm going to iron this towards the background patch. Carefully, trying not to hit my cat. Okay, look out. Look out. So we can put these together, and these two seams will nest right here. So nest these two seams. And sew this, and then we will be ironing towards the 3 half square triangles up here at the top. Look out, look out. There you go. Okay, now we can add this to this, and, well, we didn't nest these seams, but that's okay. I was so worried about the top part, I didn't do the bottom. There we go. And then we are going to be ironing towards the bottom section here. Okay. Look out. Iron towards this bottom section. Look out. So now we need to put this onto here. No seams to match. And then we're going to iron towards, they actually want us to iron towards all our colorful half square triangles. Oops. Okay. Now we can iron toward, whoops. They want us to iron this way. Iron towards all the colorful half square triangles. And now we are ready to add it to our first section we did. And we need to match all these seams right here. With every half square triangle seam, there will be a seam on here to match. So get those matched up. And we're going to be ironing towards the half square triangles. Every half square triangle seam has a matching seam over here. And iron towards the half square triangles. That's how you do this gigantically long section. So, let's get the mirror image laid out. Alright, there it is sewn together. Went together just like the other one, so no big deal there. And I'm going to get my half square triangles laid out and we'll get that sewn up. Alright, I laid this out, got so excited to sew it that I sewed it. But anyway, it is the mirror image of this one up here. And it went together just the same way. And we're going to put it together with this orange intersection block, and we're going to match every seam at a half square triangle seam. And then we're sewing it on and we're ironing towards the half square triangles. Alright, there we go. Finished up the right side of section 5. So, now we can move on to section 6, and then I'll get them hung up on the wall. Alright, to get started on section 6, we are going to be putting together this yellow and sort of blue section right in here. So 5 was up here, 6 is down here. So I've got all my pieces pulled and I'm going to go through them and show you, especially there's a lot of half square triangles in this one, show you which numbers we need per my numbering system if you watched my video, and if you didn't, it's linked down below. So let me bring you down to my desk. I'll show you what pieces we need for right here. All right, I forgot to hit record when doing my pieces. So I'm going to walk through them right here. In the upper right hand corner, you'll see that we have 2 chunky crosses. One is the one with the lime color on the inside and the other's with the teal color on the inside. So we'll have 4 chunky crosses in all that we're going to need. In the middle, you'll see the intersection block that is mostly teal with yellow. On the left-hand side is the medium pie block, and we're going to need the one with the teal on the outside. Above the pie block is our teeter-totter block. And then in the bottom right-hand corner is our number 17 half square triangle block, and then a background piece, which is just a square. And for that square, those small squares, we're going to need 4 of those for the whole thing to do both the left and right sides of this. And to go to the other side of the block, we're going to need our small log cabin in the teal colors. You'll see that in the lower right hand section. And then we will need, in all the half square triangles we need, we're going to need number 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, and 19. And I let you know which numbers those are as I'm laying them out. So don't get worried about that. And then in the backgrounds, we're going to need a large rectangle that's going to go on the left-hand side, and then 2 smaller rectangles and 4 squares. So that's what we need to do this block. It's not that difficult. It looks like a lot, but it really isn't that difficult. So let's get started building it. And again, I'll let you know which half square triangles we need as we pull them. I also didn't hit record when putting together this part of the block, so I'm just going to walk through it. It is very simple to put together. So down in the left-hand corner, you'll see the half square triangle and the square. You sew those together, and I ironed that open. And then you will put together the 2 chunky crosses right above that and iron towards the center chunky cross. And then add your half square triangle unit to the bottom, and we will iron that towards the half square triangle unit. So all your seams on that left hand part of this section is going to be ironed towards the half square triangle unit. And then we're going to go to the other side of the intersection block and put together our medium pie and our teeter-totter. and we are going to iron towards the medium pie. So now we have 3 parts to put together and just a few seams to match. At this point, you should be very schooled in matching your seams up. So just match your seams up, sew it together, and we're going to be ironing both sides of this towards the intersection block, and then we'll be complete. So the right half of our section is now completed. Now we're going to move to the half square triangle part of our section. Okay, now we're working on this half of section 6. And I've got it laid out. I've got my small log cabin here. And then I've got all my half square triangles laid out. So to start here, this is, let's look at sections. So this sits on its own. This right here is a section. This is a section right here. This, and then we've got our large background piece over here. So that's how it's going to go together. This, and then these two are standalones. So we've got our number 17s right here, and our number 19s right here. Then we've got 15, 15, and 15 right here. 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10. So those are all the numbers I used in here for the half square triangles per my own numbering system. So it doesn't tell you how to iron these half square triangles. It just tells you to put these together. So I'm going to iron these open. I'm going to put these together, iron them open. I'm going to put these together, iron them open, and put this together. I'm going to iron that open. So that's how I'm getting started on this. So let's get to work. Okay, so I've got all these sewn together, and I'm now going to iron all of these seams open. Okay, I got all my seams ironed open. Now I'm just going to attach these 4 to each other, and I'm going to iron these seams open. And then I'm going to attach this to these 4, and then get these 3 sewn together, ironed open. So I'll meet you back here after that. Okay, I've got all of these sewn together, all ironed open. Same down here, all of these are ironed open. So I'm going to take this and sew it to this. I'm going to iron this seam open, and then this seam gets ironed towards the half square triangles. This seam right here gets ironed towards this section right there. So I'll meet you back here. I had these backwards. I had this flipped actually. Sewed it on, had to rip it out. But one way you can make sure, which I have been doing up until here, is all your half square triangles are going to be pointing up and to the right. So I should have done that down here. Just wanted to make note of that. Here are our 3 sections now ready to put together. We can put these 2 together, match these seams, and we are going to iron towards the bottom section, and then we'll add this on and iron towards the big background piece. So put these 2 together, match our seams up, pin in between, we want to iron this towards the log cabin section. So match up these ends, no seams to match, sew it together, iron towards the big background piece. Towards the background, and the other half of our section 6 will be completed, and we can put the two halves together. That's what this half looks like. So it will be going together like this. Okay, we're going to put our two halves together that we just made, and they're going to go together here on this seam where we've got the small log cabin, the teeter-totter, and the medium pie in these half square triangles. So seams right here, here. Only those two seams are going to match. So let's match those up and put this thing together. Woohoo! We're going to be done with section 6. That's in, whoops, wrong seam to match. There we go. Hey, look at there, that one, yes. And then this one has one open seam and one sewn to the side, so it'll still match up. We're still good. Match your edges. And then we're going to sew this. So let's iron this towards the side that has the half square triangles and the small log cabin, because that's the way the pattern tells us to do it. Gotta be careful because some of these half square triangle seams don't want to bend. Let's see, it goes this way. That is our gigantic section 6. So I'm going to put the mirror image together, and then we'll be done with both of these. With section 5 and 6. Well, here we are. We meet again. I forgot to do an outro. But here are the pictures of my finished product. And I have them laying out on the floor because they're so big I can't put them on my design wall. They turned out beautiful, not too hard to put together. Just make sure you get your half square triangles in the right place. But anyway, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and you'll get notified when we put the next section up. And then when we finish this quilt, it's going to be beautiful. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye!